4 years to produce a review for the 2004 Act, and God knows how much it's cost, and ultimately it tells us what we already know. And the problem is now that the review of this Act is now telling us to review another Act, the Disability Act 2005. An incredible situation, Minister. Now, you talk about the need for a legal rights-based inclusive education system. But we all know when it comes to children with additional needs, this government disregards those rights and actually breaks the law. I think it is quite incredible that your government is a law-breaking government when it comes to the rights of children with special needs. It's remarkable that any government would be in that situation. Now, the Taoiseach is on the record in saying that the HSE is not in a position to fulfil the law on assessment of needs, that this should be completed within a 6-month time frame. But because of this situation, we now have the chance of 25,000 children being on that waiting list before the end of the year. Now, we in Aontú stood with Cara Jarmady outside of the gates of Leinster House recently when she was involved in that 50-hour protest, just trying to seek for the right of assessment of needs to be given in a timely fashion. Children without assessment of needs are often left without diagnosis, they're left without treatment, they're left without supports, and they're often left locked out of the education system. There's a significant challenge to a child if they don't have that assessment of needs and they don't have that early intervention for them to be able to achieve the potential that they can achieve. And Minister Foley told the Cabinet that this was misinformation. She said it was highly insulting in relation to that information being put out. But listen to the families themselves, the families who are at the coalface of this crisis. I think the government would do well just to sit down and speak to the families in this situation. And I'll give an example in my own constituency. I've been contacted by a foster mother of a 7-year-old boy who presents with very complex behavioural needs. And that child, unfortunately, has been expelled from 2 preschools and suspended from a primary school 4 times. He is now being deprived of his rights to an education, and he has been abandoned by the system for nearly 2 years waiting. Now, that foster mother contacted TUSLA, CAMS, the disability services, social workers, and even has tried to contact private psychologists. But everywhere she turns, she is met with a wall of delays. Now, when TUSLA found out that mother had contacted myself, they actually scolded her for contacting a TD in this situation, casting a chilling effect on her and her ability to be able to advocate for her foster son. Now, that's a shocking situation, and I come up against it on a regular basis, that TDs cannot advocate on behalf of citizens. I believe it should be a constitutional right for TDs to be able to advocate in a situation where the rights of children are being denied and the efforts of parents are being spurned. So what is your advice for my constituent when her foster child is being refused an assessment, is being refused his legal right, when their rights to the education is being refused? You know, for this child, there is a tragic and direct link between the lack of essential services to him and his ability to grow and thrive in an educational system. And maybe if you could actually talk to myself and the parents to be able to see, is there a pathway for that parent to be able to vindicate that child's right?
Thank you, Deputy.